Here.
Grayson.
Here. We'll have the opening prayer by Kelly Boyd and the pledge by Oscar Nelson.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight asking your wisdom and your grace to help us as we do your business here in the council chambers. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Move on to item 2, citizen comments. I do not believe we have any. So we'll go to item 3, council communications. We do have an update on the water treatment plant. I know that we have a couple council members want to say something too, but let's go ahead and knock out the presentation first. So whenever you guys are ready.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Jason Coughlin with Friese & Nichols, and tonight we're going to give you an update on the water treatment plant improvements project. It's been going on for a little while, so we've got some good news to report, good progress. Going to go through some slides, but this is conversational, so if you have any questions along the way, raise your hand or yell at me. Not too far away. There we go. So the project is really delivered in 5 phases. We've got the phases depicted up here. Conceptual design is building a definition of the project. What are we actually going to do? So that was completed in February of 2024. We just completed and delivered preliminary design. This box in front of Mr. Crosby is the deliverable for preliminary design. This gets us to about 30% design on the project. So that's preliminary site plan. We've done some geotech and survey to make sure that at least we're headed in the right direction. The preliminary design also comes with an updated cost estimate. As you build definition on a project, you can hone in on costs a little bit as well. The next phases will be actually implementing the project. So final design is what will kick off next. That will take us to a deliverable that will go out for competitive bid, which was the selected delivery method for the project, and then into construction. The timelines that we've got listed are what we expect. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is a compressed timeline. It's feasible. We've hit every deadline to date, so we expect that we'll be able to continue to do that. Your team has definitely held us accountable. We appreciate a good project partner who will do that. The process flow, so the conceptual and preliminary design for this plant, we looked at a lot of technologies. What we're focused on is water quality primarily, and then secondarily reliability. And so that is a reliable 6 million gallons a day of production out of this facility. It's going to be a conventional facility. I'm a treatment engineer. From my perspective, that is, well understood technologies, very well established, and like I said, water quality being the priority here, making sure that we deliver a process that can produce good water for Chickasha. That conventional process will be water from Fort Cobb. We are going to reestablish the powdered activated carbon. I work with PACL and PAC. Powdered activated carbon feed, which is at the pretreatment building that's away from the water treatment plant. So that's actually a pretreatment step that's going to help with taste and odor issues year-round. That was done seasonally until DEQ came out and said that the building had to have some upgrades. What we're going to do is completely upgrade that facility and really start improving water quality before the water even gets to the plant. So that was a recommendation we made. It fits in the budget, so we're excited to be able to bring that back as a full-time part of the process. When the water gets to the plant, it'll be conventional from there, so rapid mix, which is part of the coagulation, flocculation, and sedimentation process, followed by filtration and disinfection. This in my left hand. As part of the, was there a question? Sorry. Oh, didn't mean to hit it twice. So as part of the preliminary design, we did put together a site plan for the new water treatment plant site. As I mentioned, this is going to be delivered for a reliable 6 million gallons a day of capacity, but it's expandable to 8. So you'll see a few dashed lines there where we can add a unit process relatively efficiently. The site's going to be laid out for that expansion to 8. The supply planning, though, shows that 6 million gallons a day should get you out to about 2060 or 2070 based on current demand projections. So, and again, there's a range of demand projections, but 20 or 60 or 2070, if you do see significant growth before that time frame, you can add the additional 2 MGD really easily. As a matter of fact, we're going to give you filters for 8 MGD, which are inside the building. It won't be a firm capacity of 8, but it will be a total capacity of 8. So the intent is to make it very efficient to expand this, but we don't want you to spend that money today. 6 is going to get you to the horizon. As part of the preliminary design, and one of the aspects of this design is the whole thing is going to be done in a design tool called Revit. Revit is a 3D design tool, so instead of drawing things in 2D and having the contractor build them off of 2D, we will produce plan sheets for the contractor, but the whole thing is done in 3D. And what this allows is for our team and your team to actually walk through an asset before it's even built. So we can walk through the high service pump station. We can walk through the admin building and the filters. It also helps us to eliminate conflicts, where in 2D, we can do everything we can to eliminate conflicts. 3D really helps us identify those things, helps us to be really efficient with the design as well. So these are just conceptual renderings of what the plant may look like. The area on the left, you see the two ponds. Those are actually going to be residual lagoons or sludge lagoons. It's one of the processes that's actually at the existing plant. And we're working to make those very efficiently sized. They would have to be a lot bigger if we weren't doing some things in the process, but we also want to be very water efficient. So the supernate or the clear water that comes off those ponds is actually going to be recycled to the head of the plant. So we're making sure that we're going to be able to reclaim as much of that water as possible. The admin building on the left, and that's what I talked about, will actually house the filters. The filters are typically one of the areas that's harder to expand in the future, so we are building that for 8 MGD today, which means with 1 filter offline, you'd have that firm capacity of 6 MGD. And these are going to be dual media filters, very similar to what the existing plant uses. See additional renderings here and perspectives. The clear well is going to be a rectangular clear well done in 2 segments that actually helps us to manage water quality depending on demand, and then a high service pump station to deliver to distribution. The next steps, and I didn't get into detail on the conceptual design. We did some water quality testing both on Fort Cobb and Lake Chickasha. We will continue some of that sampling, looking at very specific parameters to make sure as we get into final design, we're designing a process that can cover not only what we find in a graph sample, but over a series of samples in time that give us varying water quality with seasonality. The final design, we are already kicked off. So I'm presenting to you tonight. We don't have final design quite approved, but with this time frame, my team is already moving on the final design. We expect to be able to deliver the final design by the end of the year, and then immediately submit that to the state for review and approval. We have to work through a pretty significant regulatory process for a drinking water project like this, so we'll submit that for approval in January, likely go out to bid in March, and then open bids in May for construction. We anticipate construction to be around 18 months. We're tracking lead times on different pieces of equipment pretty diligently because that can impact a lot of what's going on in construction today. As part of the design, we will be going through the process to do decommissioning and demolition of the existing plant. So after the new plant is fully operational and commissioned, the old plant will actually be decommissioned and demolished. So you'll see that in the scope of work when our contract comes to council. I think that's all I had tonight. I'm open for questions if you have any. Yes, sir.
The PAC, what does that stand for again? It's the pretreatment of
powdered activated carbon.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned DEQ. What would you know what problem they maybe had with how it's being done now? Is that?
Well, and it was actually to do with the rating of the building.
The what of?
The rating of the building. So this
it's not large enough?
Well, no, it actually, And I am not an expert in this, so you'll have to forgive me.
Okay.
But the rating for the building has a certain fire code for different chemicals that are stored in the building. When they were feeding PAC at this location, DEQ had some issues, I think particularly with the electrical equipment and the ventilation in the building. So DEQ said if you're gonna store and feed a powdered chemical, and this is basically what's inside of a Brita filter. So it's not anything, it's pretty inert, right? But it is powdered, just like a grain silo has some fire hazards, right? So the ventilation requirement and the electrical requirement was not met, which meant the building would have had to be upgraded.
Okay.
So we're going to make all those upgrades. We're actually going to be storing and feeding the PAC from the outside of the building and then mixing it inside, which goes into a carrier water and then is fed into the pipeline. But this is a great first line of defense for taste and odor issues. It's relatively inexpensive, it's very easy to operate and maintain, and with a few minor improvements to the building and the facility, we can get this back online.
Thank you.
Could that be done soon, or is that something we'll do once the plant's started?
That could be done soon, but I would say the delivery of the final design is pretty soon.
Okay,
Even if we focused on that to get it out as maybe an early deliverable package, it wouldn't be a lot faster than the
Okay.
overall final design. But we can talk about that. That is a
okay.
good question,
I know we're
especially
having
as, you know,
issues right now, I think, with water quality,
mhm.
so that'd be nice to have.
Yeah, and that's why this is one of the priorities. We have a few on the wish list. We wanted to make sure that those fit within the budget. And the other good news item is the cost estimate that we've updated for 30% fits within the funding budget you've got, even with the powdered activated carbon. So, you know, it's something that we think is a priority for water quality.
And that's the building between here and Varden, correct?
I'm going to look at Scott or Jim for that. Where's
Is
the
it-
PAC
isn't-
building?
It's about 5 miles west on 62, right north of 62.
Yeah. I thought they said something about, seems like in the past, it's been quite a few years ago, I thought they said it needed to be kind of explosion-proof or something like that, a building, and that's why they made us quit using that product in that building.
Yeah, I think that's right. And particularly on the electrical side, some electrical gear is explosion-proof and some is not. So the rating for the building and the electrical was not quite right for the application.
Is the plan to still have generators for the pumps and the plant? So if the grid goes down for any reason, we'll be able to process water and pump the towers?
Yes, and that actually is one of the longer lead time items that we're tracking,
Okay.
is a generator for the plant.
Okay.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Council communications, I know there's several that want to speak.
I don't know if this needs to go to Mr. Crosby or to Spencer, but out at the park Saturday for my oldest great-grandchild's 6th birthday, we were at the splash pad. And as you walk down off the street, down to the splash pad, there's an area of like asphalt, and there is about a 4 to 5 inch drop. And it's a pretty big trip hazard. There was a lady out there that did trip. Luckily, she didn't fall. And I told her, I said, I will bring that up Monday night. So I don't know if it's something that can just move it out with a little bit more asphalt. Because I know that in the long range, we have hopefully the new trails and stuff coming forward. But until then, if we could do something to maybe alleviate that trip hazard or.
Yeah, we appreciate the alert. We'll take a look at it and see if there's some.
It's a
fix we
pretty
can-
good little drop off. All right, thank you.
Me? This past week, Erica and Charlie and I attended Oklahoma Municipal League training. And one of the items that was brought up is public speaking at a council meeting. Their recommendation was that all comments had to be directed to the mayor. Could not be directed at council members, had to be directed to the mayor. And that all speakers, public speaking, or us as a council speaking, have to maintain civility and respect for the city council code of ethics. And that personal attacks or animosity, it came up with a personal attack, you're immediately shut down. And then citizens may only speak on specific agenda items on today's agenda. But I've talked to Zach about that, and, you know, we sort of like the fact that people can get up and talk about what they want to talk about, but it also puts the council in a situation that if anybody responds back, it's a violation of the Open Meetings Act, which basically shuts us down. So I'm going to draw something up and see if we can't get it redone how we're doing business right now, because in the last 6 months, I know that a couple of council members have been directly attacked, and that's why we have emails and also phone numbers. So if you have a problem with a council member, you can email or call. So,
Keith, would that be something that you want John just to send to you so we can have Amanda and everybody look
Yeah,
at it?
we certainly revisit our rules of conduct in council meetings. It's difficult in today's environment because you run up against First Amendment issues, but I'm fully supportive of the idea of the mayor having the authority of the gavel to control the meeting.
Like John said, I know we don't have to have the citizen comment section, but
It's not
I like the fact
required.
we do. And
Yeah,
so if
it-
we can do something to left and right limit it instead of eliminate it, I like John's idea.
I think that makes sense.
Mayor
Yes,
and
sir.
council, I don't feel like our process is lacking. I think we have an adequate forum and a sign-in process that does welcome people to speak. And I think many of our citizens haven't been through any training, but they've got something to say.
right,
And we
the
need,
deal is we can't say anything back.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned that we can't say anything back. And I don't know that our forum is lacking. I would like John to compare those before we move forward with anything.
I did. I did.
I haven't.
But with that, if it's addressing the mayor, it's me getting punched in the mouth, then I can take a punch, so. I think moving forward, maybe that's the way we do it. If it's coming to me, I can have a little more control on keeping it off your guys' shoulders. It can be my burden.
I think you're completely capable of that.
Taking a punch? Thank you, Charlie.
No,
I'm just joking.
of controlling the meeting.
I know what you mean. I appreciate that.
I think everybody will get the message the day you stand up. That something, and I've not seen anything that would warrant changing that in my view, Councilman Smith,
Okay.
at that point.
We all have opinions.
Along those lines, all of our notice of meetings say the city of Chickasha encourages participation from all of its citizens. And every time I've received one of these, I've taken my red pen and circled that and said something like, how do we encourage it? Or prove it to me that we encourage it. And I think your ideas have merit, and they have a well thought out situation with what they've written out. But I feel like moving forward with that may be actual discouragement to our citizens. Thank you.
It's mostly addressed to the council that we cannot respond back to a citizen as being up here. We can't respond back because that violates the Open Meetings Act.
During council communications.
If it's not about an agenda item, yes.
Has to be about an agenda item for us to respond back. If somebody gets up and has an issue they want to talk about and it's not on the agenda,
Okay.
we have to sit up here and keep our mouths shut.
Have we been jeopardizing the city in any past meetings?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that I'm aware of either.
I think many of the times we've announced, when there is citizen comments, we've several times announced, you're free to, talk about the issue you like, but we cannot respond tonight because it's not an agenda
Right.
issue. Maybe it's just making that an automatic statement every time that we have a citizen comment, just to remind each time. You're more than welcome to speak on any issue, but please know that we cannot respond tonight because if it's not an agenda item. And that lets them know up front. Because I've had a couple of people say, well, I came and I spoke, but nobody said anything, and I explained it to them, and they said, okay, now that makes sense, so.
So maybe an informational issue, getting the proper information out so everybody's aware of what's going on. Okay. Yes, sir.
It might be something we could read that statute when you announce citizen comments. If we have any, you could read a short part of that statute that says we can't respond.
That or it's on the actual form they fill out.
Agenda announcement
Okay.
that kind of stating the guidelines for citizen comment. It's not an appropriate forum, to, as you described, to engage in dialogue, but we want to encourage citizens to bring forward issues that they may have. It's recommended that if they need something done, a pothole fixed or a safety issue at the park that they've recognized, it's preferred that they handle that through staff, through the portal that we use, or just call the office and let us know. It's not inappropriate to bring up at a city council meeting, but they're probably going to get better results if they go through the portal or call us directly. And then citizen comments for the council meetings can be addressing those matters that may come up at a future agenda meeting. We want to facilitate dialogue, but we don't want to get into arguments or criticisms or personal attacks, and then those kinds of things can be difficult to regulate. As I said, there may be First Amendment issues. If somebody's got something on their mind they want to talk about, they pretty much have the right to say what they want, but it's critical that the city council doesn't engage them in a direct give and take on a particular subject that's not on the agenda.
I have one thing, and I apologize because this was literally a question that was asked right as I was driving here. Is there any type of process for somebody that if there's a construction project upcoming or going on that somebody would put a bid in for, let's say concrete? Is there somewhere that's, I mean, is there past a certain number that people can put in the bidding process? How does that work right now?
All of our publicly let bids are publicly announced and available on our website.
Okay.
I would say some that we advertise a little more directly to the industry. Rather than just posting it on the website, we may invite those in the business to consider submitting a proposal or a bid. But
Yeah, I think they were just asking, how do you know if you're taking bids on something? And I thought the website, that was all that I really knew of, but I didn't know if it was posted anywhere else that.
Yeah, generally the website's the best place, and we're required by state law to make sure that they're posted there.
Okay.
I had a question. On May 20th, Councilman Gertis asked Jim, when he was giving his presentation about, was it televising the EDC meetings?
Live stream.
Live stream?
Yeah.
I guess televising is kind of an old term. But I was just wondering if we can get an update on that. Do you have any information?
I don't. I'll have to speak with them directly, but I suppose I'm not aware of a technology reason why we can't do that.
Would it be out of line if Jim could give us an update tonight?
Jim, do you want to respond to?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the acoustics aren't good. What was the question?
Can we
talking about live streaming
the EDC and CIA meetings from the chamber office?
We've looked into that, and I don't know that we're at a point where we're able to do that right now, but we'll continue to look at what all our options are, and I'll report back to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Jim.
I've got, Charlie, you got something else?
I brought some water from home, and I was curious, is anybody experiencing those matters? Where it just seems to be a different color.
That was one of the things I was going to ask about was,
right ahead.
There's been a lot of, talk about the water quality issues and pressure. Do we know, I know we had to break on.
This past week, we've had a couple, over the weekend, a significant break. It was at 9th and 10th in Frisco area But citywide, we've seen some discoloration. A couple of reasons for that. We were at capacity in our water treatment plant over the weekend, and probably still are, about 4.7 million gallons a day. It's hot, people are watering their flowers and using a lot of water right now. And that tends to stir up some sediment out of the existing system. We heard from a number of people around the city of discolored water. It's still safe to drink, and if we can continue to stay ahead of it, which right now we are, the crew worked all weekend, late into the night to get these repairs made. And so we have all of our systems running right now. But if you notice discoloration in your water, it's probably good to flush your sink for a little while, let the water run, and some of that sediment dissipates. But we're well aware that. And with the presentation we had from Freeze and Nichols, hopefully a couple years from now, we'll not see that problem.
I was always told when it got hot that the lake turned over.
The lake, yeah, a little later in the year, but it does turn over. And when that happens, we see some sediment in the water as well that discolors it. That's not unusual.
When you have a main break like that, does dirt get in the line? Is that why it's like a?
Can. I'm not aware that a significant amount of dirt got in this time because there's so much pressure in that line, all the water's coming out of the pipe rather than sediment going in. But it's that sudden pressure changes that can break loose sediment that's existing in the pipes. It's just naturally occurring.
I know on my end, in my world, we have a filtration system at the restaurant, and I've normally changed the filters once a month. I've done it once a week for about 2 months now.
Yeah, we should see this correction shortly. It shouldn't take weeks for this to be corrected.
Thank you, Keith. I did have a citizen call me to thank me for the 29th Street overlay, but also ask if there was a better warning system that we could put in place to let residents know or businesses know that their access may be blocked from a certain time. And I know there's a lot that goes into that as far as, especially when we're working with the county, and thank you to the county for allowing us to piggyback with their work. But I know we've got to coordinate with them. We've got to, when the asphalt's available, and there's a lot of moving parts, but they did ask if there was a better warning system so they could, this is a medical facility, so tell their patients, hey, we're not going to have access today. Don't try to come or whatever.
Right. Yeah. We do make an effort to let people know that we're about to pave, but we could probably do a better job of that as well. There may have been somebody that we missed, or the message didn't get to the right people.
Right. I want to bring it to the council's attention because I've been inundated with phone calls and emails about it. Some of you may know, some of you might, but at 141 Skyline Drive, there is a home that it's called an Oxford House. So what it basically is it's a recovery home, right? So they put people that are recovering, trying to get their life back on track. The issue, if there is an issue, is that it's done without any kind of warning. The neighbors had no idea what was happening. There hasn't been a process followed. Rachel and Keith are well aware of the situation. We're trying to figure out exactly what process they have to follow. But as of right now, the home was purchased and I think it's being remodeled. I don't know if anybody's living in it or not yet, but the neighbors are very concerned about what's going on. And this is off their advertisement, up to 9 people could be living in that home, unsupervised. So.
Is it a single family residential?
It's zoned R1. So that's single family, right? So as our ordinance reads currently, Rachel and I have talked about this. We do have what's it called? What's the ordinance called?
It was actually when the mayor did that student living house on Grand, we rewrote the single family residential ordinance to allow a congregate living facility.
That's what it is.
That allows many unrelated persons to live in a single family residence on a use on review specifically. I would encourage all of you to look at the Oxford House. They're a nationwide organization. They have houses all over the country in every single state, many in Oklahoma. I would say they probably have, close to 50 in Oklahoma in like all kinds of size cities, Tulsa, Norman, Oklahoma City, Claremore, little towns, they have an entire legal team nationwide that basically they cited a few federal fair housing laws when I called them today, because in my opinion, they fall under the congregate living facility. I assume their legal team will produce some documentation back to us, and we'll kind of go from there. But we are aware of the situation. We are working with them. We're going to make them follow the law to the best of our ability, and then obviously our legal counsel will be involved once they send us back some letters. So that's kind of the point that we're at. They just don't have any water usage yet, so I'm not aware of anyone in the house currently. They just got the water account set up on the 28th. So it's all just happened. They have not, if no one's in there, they haven't done anything wrong to this point, so hopefully we give them the time to go through the proper channels. The use itself is not a violation of our ordinances. If they meet the occupancy code and they get a congregate living special use on review, they would be allowed to do that there. So having people that are recovering from drugs is not a violation of our ordinances in the home as long as they go through the proper channels. So.
And that was my key on this, is that we have a proper way to do this, and they should be expected to be held to everybody else's standard. Everybody's got to do it. I mean, that's what we had to do when we remodeled that house for college students, is we had to follow the proper process, and the neighbors had a chance to come and voice their concerns to planning and zoning and then council, and we just want to make sure we're holding everybody to the same standard. So I wanted you guys to be aware, because it could potentially be a pretty big deal.
Do they have a resident staff and administrators or anything there?
Democratically ran.
Okay.
That's what the advertisement says. Right. Whatever that means.
What is the name of the group again?
Their website is oxfordhouse.org.
Which their mission is very noble. Like what they're trying to do, I totally agree. Everybody needs a second chance. It's just there's a process and it needs to be followed.
I was wondering about the Overwatch, like who's in charge, if any?
It's a good question.
Yeah, okay.
Good question. Anybody else on council communications?
I was just going to say, we did see, I was talking to Chief about it earlier. Did anybody go to Jimmy's Egg over the weekend? I seen Tip a Cop was going on for Special Olympics. It was amazing. The place was packed out, and so Chickasha PD was there, and Mr. Alexander greeted me at the door, and I was like, "Look at all the police officers serving coffee in there. That's pretty amazing." But they did a good job. I mean, it was amazing output, generosity. So, wanted to congratulate Chickasha PD for doing that for the Special Olympics.
Awesome, thank you, Kelly.
I'd just like to say 16th South of Country Club looks great. I'm sure a lot of people are appreciative of that.
Yeah, all of the roads that they've been working on and partnering with the county on look really fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one by the railroad's real nice too, on the north side.
North Fourth.
Yeah, you don't have to dodge a bunch of big old potholes.
I did have somebody say, well, that looks really great, but what about Grand Avenue? And I was like, put it on the list.
We're getting there.
That's a state highway.
Yeah. All right, anybody else before we move on? All right, item number 4, consent docket.
Move that we approve as presented. Second.
I think we have somebody that's...
For individual consideration, those items.
Amanda, when do we do that? If somebody wants to pull some out of the consent docket, when is the appropriate time?
Did I miss it?
It would be as part of the motion.
As part of the motion, okay. So whoever wanted to pull something would need to make the motion, and we approve the consent docket, but I want to pull X, Y, Z
That's correct, yes.
out. Okay. I think Charlie wants to pull a couple. I don't know how that works, since we don't even have a motion in a second. I would have to...
I might have missed
I
it.
have to amend my motion, so,
Yeah.
Just to vote on the motion, and if the motion fails as is, then you could bring back a motion to approve it with those items in particular removed.
What's the
Or the
easiest?
maker of the motion could rescind the motion.
Or we can Can I just ask him which items he wants to pull, and then she can amend her motion if she so chooses to pull those items?
Mayor, I'll get faster at it. Let's just let it
Well, I'm
go.
trying to figure it out too, so.
I
Which
appreciate
items
that.
did you want to pull, Charlie?
Are we open to do that
Well, I'm
now?
going to ask Georgiana if she wants to amend her motion, so.
D, E, F, and H.
D,
I think
E,
that
F.
was the ones that would cover.
So all the appointments,
What about D?
D, E, F, and H, right? Delta Echo Foxtrot Hotel.
Exactly.
Georgiana, are you comfortable with amending your motion?
So we're going to review those on a one-by-one basis, like we did last time, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to accept the consent docket as presented with the exception of item D, E, F, and H.
Who had the second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second, and a roll call, please.
Nelson,
Yes.
Gann,
Yes.
Everly,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 5, on 4D, appointment of Nita Ladd to the Board of Adjustments, replacing John Grody with a term to expire 6/30/26. Need a motion and a second.
I make a motion that we appoint Nita Ladd to the Board of Adjustments, replacing John Grody with a term that expires on 6/30/2026.
Second.
Discussion.
Kind of a question there. With Mr. Grody, was he serving in 2 different capacities?
I believe so.
Okay, I thought we'd address something with him probably
If
not
you
too
look-
long ago.
If you
Was
looked at
that,
my item, we have to have 2 planning commissioners on the Board of Adjustments. So when Mr. Grody stepped down from both boards.
He did,
He
okay.
served as both, so I appointed Eric Anderson to the Planning Commission last meeting. Nita
Right.
Ladd is currently a planning commissioner, and she asked to be one of the planning commissioners that serves as the Board of Adjustments.
okay, that clarifies my concerns, thank you.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Ian,
Yes.
Everly,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 4E, appointment of Nate McCullough to Planning Commission, replacing Brooklyn White with a term to expire 6/30/26.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Nate McCullough to the Planning Commission with a term to expire June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Discussion.
The only issue I had was, and I talked to Amanda about it, is the fact that, you know, Nate is a contractor for the city, and I don't know if he's gonna fall under the same rules as somebody that's a board member of the public trust, or if it's not, so.
If I may,
Yes, ma'am.
so doing very quick research just during this meeting, Title 11, Section 8-113 provides for the prohibited conduct of municipal officers. If you look at Title 11, it provides the definition of an officer as a person who is elected to an office in municipal government. Now, again, quick research, I've not looked at this beforehand, but based on my review of the statutes, I do not believe that that would fall within the conflict of interest statute as set forth in Title 11. My recollection of looking at the statutes on the Planning Commission is that it does not provide for that.
So the key word, oh, go ahead.
My question is, do they have to take an oath?
I'm sorry?
Do they have to take an oath?
No.
Okay. What about on a public trust, do you take an oath?
You do take an oath for a public trust?
Yeah, because I've read that statute too, and that's one of the requirements there. If you take an oath, you're considered, you know, a public employee or whatever.
Are you talking about?
You don't have to be elected. If you're appointed and you have to take an oath, then the same rules apply.
Are you talking about title, the prohibited conduct under Title 11?
Uh-huh.
Okay, hold on one second.
I've never seen a CIA member take an oath.
I don't know. I don't know if you did or
I
not.
was appointed, so I don't know.
Zach said he didn't have to take an oath to be on the CIA.
I don't remember CIA members ever being sworn
We
in.
would have to confirm in our trust indenture.
Right.
So in this matter, Amanda, if we needed, say we approved it or denied it, say we approved it, we could always, if we find something that need to remove them, we could just vote to remove them, correct?
Yes, yes. And it actually, the definition also provides, in the conflict of interest, it provides the definition of employee, stating any person who is employed by a municipality more than 10 hours in a week for more than 13 consecutive weeks and who enters into, recommends, or participates in the decision to enter into any transaction described in subsection A of this section, which is the selling, buying, or leasing of property, contracting with the municipality, or buying or bartering for or otherwise engaging in any manner. So based on that, I don't, it's my opinion, it's not applicable.
Can you do me a favor in between now and next council meeting, get some more clarification on that?
On specifically,
On what John's asking, just so we have a clear cut.
on planning commission and trustees?
Yeah.
Was that?
I think on all the public trusts, we're the trustees except for the CIA. Oh, and
The CIA. and
just the CIA.
Well, the CIA.
Chickasha Municipal Authority's us, so. So the only one that's really gonna be affected is the CIA.
Definitely want to make sure we're following the rules. Any more discussion on Nate? We have a motion and a second. And we did clarify that we can vote, if there is an issue, we can turn around and
Yep.
vote them on. Okay.
Rock and roll.
All right, roll call, please.
Evelyn?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Abstain.
Curtis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Ginn?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Item 4F, appoint Clark Sutherland to the Aviation Board, replacing Joe Green with a term to expire 6/30/27.
Make a motion that we appoint Clark, is it Southern? To
Southern.
the Aviation
Southern, yeah.
Board with a term to expire June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Discussion.
Did Mr. Green resign?
No,
Term expired.
his term expired, and we're kind of in the process of renewing several boards and commissions, and Mr. Southard was offered as a suitable board member.
Had Mr. Sutherland served on this one before? I noticed
He
he's
has.
listed some other communities.
He has served actually on this board before, but his term expired, and so we try to rotate and refresh those boards periodically.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Yes.
Evelyn?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Item 4H, appoint Whitney Mulder to the Parks and Recreation Board, replacing Dr. Ashante Alexander with a term to expire 6/30/2025.
Mayor, I'd move to approve item 4H, please.
A motion?
Second.
Motion second, discussion?
Who was the second, please?
I'm sorry?
Mr. Curtis.
Brian? You're the second, right, Brian?
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Ginn?
Yes.
Evelyn?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Item 6A, discussion, consideration, of possible action to approve an agreement with Stanley Systems for printers, including service, for an average of $3,575 per month.
Make a motion that we approve an agreement with Stanley Systems for printers, including service, for an average of $35.75 per month, and authorize the mayor to execute the same. Second.
Discussion?
Is this something we bid, or is it just,
This, we bid it periodically, but this is not the subject of that process. This is a renewal of an existing contract that we've had for some time with Stanley Systems.
okay.
Mayor, can we be sure, is this just an updated rendition of a contract we've approved in the past?
More or less, yes.
Unfortunately, I was not able to read mine. Very, very fine print
Okay.
on that yellow copy. And somewhere in the mix, and it seems like I noticed that this is a savings from a previous rate we've been paying.
Yeah, this will be, result in us spending less for printers and copier service.
Yeah, it was down like $2,000 or something.
Was that just pretty good negotiating, or how was that? Is there a
Very skillful negotiating
there we
city
go.
manager.
I didn't know if there was
no,
a
that's-
known reason. You said, well, something dropped off that didn't require as much.
Just basic efficiencies of being able to utilize the equipment that we do have and
Okay.
better utilization of those services that they provide.
Thank you.
Need a roll call, please?
Alexander?
I'll abstain.
Burris?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Elway?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Item 6B, discussion and consideration of possible action to approve resolution 2024-16R in support for the appointment of Zachary Grayson to the District 9 seat on the Board of Directors for the Oklahoma Municipal League, declaring said appointment to be for the benefit of the city of Chickasha and other municipalities within the district, and declaring the mission of Oklahoma Municipal League to be for the public purpose.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution 2024 tax 16R in support of the appointment of Zach Grayson to the District 9 seat of the Board of Directors of the Oklahoma Municipal Authority, declaring said appointment to be the benefit of the city of Chickasha and other municipalities within the district, and declaring the mission of the Oklahoma Municipal League to be for public purpose.
Second?
Discussion. Our current representative is the mayor of Lawton. And so the seat came up, and I decided to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring to try to represent Chickasha on that board. So I appreciate, if it passes, you guys supporting that
Love the
endeavor.
idea.
I think it's great.
Love it.
Good.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Burris?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Elway?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Had to be the no vote, right? Item 6C, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the amendment to the city, county, and interlocal agreement in regard to Cottonwood Road overlay project.
Make a motion that we recommend accepting the amendment of 2-inch of asphalt on Cottonwood Road and adding a 3-inch base, and approving the cost of the project in the amount of $92,590.70.
Second.
Discussion.
I have questions. Is this an additional 3 inches to the 2 inches? So it'll be 5 inches?
When the design was done for the project, it was originally intended from to do a 5-inch overlay, 3 inches of type A, which is a heavier base, and a 2-inch finish. However, when the county printed their item for the approval, they put 2 inches and left the other 3 inches off. That's the reason we have to do an amendment in order to pay that the county agrees, because it's an interlocal government agreement, to make sure we're all in agreement for the 5 inches on that road. That road carries a lot of traffic, a lot of truck traffic, and it had no base, and it was nothing but potholes and a lot of repair work on the road, and this is the only way that road would hold up with the finished project. It's the same thing as we did on North 4th Street, similar type finish.
Okay, but the work has already been done.
Work's already been finished. All of our laydown and overlay projects has been finished for this particular series of projects.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Curtis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Epplethwaite?
Yes.
Smith?
No.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Yes.
Yes. Item 6D, discussion, consideration of possible action to approve the road striping project in the amount of $56,970.88 using state contract SW 776- Action Safety Supply Company LLC.
I move we approve road striping projects in the amount of $56,970.88 using state contract SW 776 to Action Safety Supply Company LLC.
Second?
Discussion?
Yes. Could we get some clarification on the exact locations of this matter when we talk in terms of 29th Street? Some people remember the former Highway 92, locally known as Norge Road. I'm thinking that this may want to actually spell out continuing anything on 29th south of Grand Avenue. 29th Street is not available because of the railroad that got closed a few years ago. So is this to be understood as going down Norge Road, the former Highway 92, and not exactly 29th Street all the way to Country Club, say from Carolina South?
I think it's from Highway 62 to Country Club, isn't it?
No, it's Highway 92 going to Norge.
Well, that's commonly known as 29th Street. There it becomes the highway
Well,
as you go out.
29th Street was actually closed. When you continue on, there's a barrier there where you can't travel down 29th Street.
So I was thinking it might need to be relabeled differently.
I think the post office calls that 29th Street. I don't think the U.S. Postal Service will let you relabel their streets and addresses.
No, I think 29th used to, where the railroad was closed.
No, I
29th
understand that, yeah, it used to connect to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it says 29th Street 62, is that,
that's the highway.
is it 92 or 62? Is it 92 or?
62.
62.
What is known as Norge Road, the road that goes out to Norge, used to be Highway 92. And I think it's been undesignated some time ago. And I don't really know what the city calls it.
Highway 62 is this one right out here. It would be Choctaw and 29th. That's Highway 62. Head south all the way to Country Club. So I see what you're saying, because you can no longer cross the railroad track right there on 29th. It stops. Is that where we stop, or do we?
Somebody with an address on 29th Street, north of Country Club or south of Carolina, probably should not expect any new striping.
Correct.
Although this reads as if they're going to get new striping for a half mile. At least a half mile between
So
those,
basically from
between
Grand
those
Avenue to
streets.
Choctaw, or Country Club, I mean.
And that is
No,
Highway
This
92.
is only applying to that, what we currently refer to as 29th Street, which is
You say it's only
only the part that we just
referring to what has been overlaid?
recently overlaid, exactly.
Okay.
Did that stop at Grand then, that overlay?
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't inspected
Well,
it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought there was some work that actually.
It goes 62 to Grand. That was the overlay.
That's, yeah, but didn't they do some other work from Grand out to Country Club? I thought they did some other work out there.
Ask Jim.
They filled in.
The county has been doing some work further from Grand out further, some tree trimming.
Country
and
Club?
A few things out that way.
Country Club to Pikes Peak on 16.
Like in
Right.
front of,
I'm talking
in front of HSI, you know, all those potholes were covered. So I don't know if that's where we're striping, I'm guessing too.
Keith, so what
So
you're
it's
saying is,
all of 29.
what you're saying is, what we're talking about is just the stuff that we've overlaid here recently to get
Correct.
it striped.
But would we
Yes, that's
actually,
correct.
would we actually stripe all the way out to Country Club? We didn't overlay that. There was some repair done, I think, but it wasn't overlaid.
Is that still a functioning highway? Is that still considered a Highway 92?
Yeah, it comes up on Google that way for sure. 92. Well, I should say, last time I looked,
Isn't that the state's responsibility is what I'm getting at, to stripe Highway 92?
exactly. Where does that start?
Jim, did the overlay go south of Grand to Country Club?
Really, do you plan for that to go south on the overlay for 29?
When we started the overlay program and discussion, we were approached by the county to do, and they were gonna do a oil and chip from Grand south to the city limits. And they will already have done some repair work on that road, and probably in the next 30 to 60 days, that work will be completed. And then we'll come back, and if we need striping that road or address it, we will come back and do that when finished. But that was the original agreement with the county, that we would do the, from 62 to Grand, but they were gonna do Grand, and they're gonna continue further south with that road and to do improvements. But they wanted to do that, and that was the original agreement with the county.
I think the issue that we're having though is 29th Street continues on to a barrier. So is it actually Highway 92 that we're going to stripe?
That'll be 92 that'll turn
Okay.
on. Right.
There you go.
That's what they'll be doing, sir.
That tells me if the county's overlaying a highway, it sounds to me like the state turned that highway over.
I think it's a city street, right? Is that correct?
Highway 82 would not be a city street, I don't believe.
It's in the city limits because all that area out there by HSI where those houses are and stuff, that's all city limits.
Yeah, because I've turned in a pothole request for that, and I think we took care of it.
I'm thinking Highway 92 was decommissioned sometime in the past.
So-
The county received their portion, and the city received their portion, and each entity okayed it. So somewhere south of Country Club Road is the city limit.
Yeah.
But we've misdescribed it on this matter. Additionally, on page 114, I've just got the comment and read that. Printing is too small. I was unable to read that on this matter. Makes me wonder what would it be like at this time to ask that we might withdraw that motion and just lay this aside and get it correct when we bring it to council.
Well, did I understand Jim correctly, once the county finishes their work on the part that was Highway 92, we're gonna come back and strike that?
Yeah.
Is that correct, Jim?
Yes.
That'll be a separate item that'll come back before us.
Well,
That's what this
well,
is for.
this shows two country clubs, so this to me shows that it's the cost of the striping further out on that, Jim, correct, included in this, sir?
The cost of the striping, does that also include from Grand Avenue to Country Club on 92?
The future project.
I think all this is included in there.
That's the way I read it, too.
Striping from Grand all the way to the end of, south to the end of the city limits on 92.
But this amount of money is being allocated to do that job, right?
Yes. And it'll be what we'll be doing is it's called polymer instead of, which is the favored deal that's longer lasting than just paint or anything like that. And it's the preferred way that the state and everybody is doing the present stripe, sir.
Right, we just want to make sure that the cost or the price we have includes Grand Avenue to Country Club.
We would, yes.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay, so that, we're good. All right,
Roll call.
we had a motion and a second, right?
Yes.
All right, roll call.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Ginn?
Yes.
Edelquait?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Abstain.
Curtis?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. I'm so thrown off. Do you have 6E in there? I don't have it on the agenda, but I have one on my book.
I don't have a 6E.
Oh, is that here?
Oh, I got a motion to adjourn.
Well, I know that, but it's, okay. Item number 7, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We're
Second.
adjourned. I'd like to call the Chickasha Municipal Authority to order. I need a roll call, please.
Boyd?
Here.
Nelson?
Here.
Ginn?
Here.
Edelquait?
Here.
Grayson?
Here.
Smith?
Ready.
Alexander?
Here.
Burris?
Here.
Curtis?
Here.
Item 2, consent docket.
Move we approve the consent docket as presented.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Nelson?
Yes.
Ginn?
Yes.
Edelquait?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Item 4A.
Mayor?
I'm sorry.
4A and 4B are being pulled.
Okay. So let's move on to item 5, executive session. Discussion, 5A, discussion and consideration of possible action to enter an executive session pursuant to Title 25 OS Section 307B3 to discuss the purchase or appraisal of real property. 5B, discussion and consideration of possible action to reconvene open session and take appropriate action on any matter discussed in executive session.
I make a motion we do not enter executive session as items 4A and B have been pulled.
Oh, good point.
Can I for
No,
correction there?
no, so they're second. They're separate issues. right?
4A and B were pulled from the agenda, but 5A and B are still on the agenda.
They're about something other than those items.
Correct.
Now
So-
we gotta say no to your motion.
Or he can,
There wasn't a second.
Prove it.
there wasn't a second. All right. Do I have a second? Nope. Can I entertain a new motion then, since we didn't have a second?
I'll second it.
Second?
You want to adjourn and go?
No, they're being pulled, Charlie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you for letting me catch up.
All right. So you don't want a second then?
I'm lost. What are we
Withdrawn.
seconding? Where are we going?
Erica made the, right.
Oh, boy.
We didn't have a second for John's motion, so
I
let's.
moved that we enter into executive
There we
session.
go.
Second.
We have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Ginn?
Yes.
Edelquait?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Abstain.
Curtis?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. I understand where you're coming from, but it's, yeah, separate
different
items,
item?
yeah, separate thing, yeah.
I thought you was getting ready to do this.
going to be no action taken out of executive session, so we'll move on to item 6, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. I'd like to call the Chickasha Municipal Airport Authority to order, please. Roll call.
Boyd?
Here.
Nelson?
Here.
Ginn?
Here.
Evelyn?
Here.
Smith?
Here.
Alexander?
Here.
Burris?
Here.
Gertis?
Here.
Grayson?
Here. Item 2, consent docket.
Move that we accept as presented.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Nelson?
Yes.
Ginn?
Yes.
Evelyn?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Yes.
Gertis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Item 4A, discussion, consideration, of possible action to authorize the mayor to execute task order number 7 with Park Hill Professional Services, Chickasha Municipal Airport, PSO easement preparation.
No questions.
We need a motion first.
I move to authorize the mayor to execute task order number 7 with Park Hill for Professional Services, Chickasha Municipal Airport, PSO easement preparation.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion.
Yes. I'm seeing poles, and then I'm seeing underground. Could we describe how much is there just going to be one pole, and then we take the electricity underground? Or is there going to be a fairly large run of above-ground electricity?
It's underground to the box hangers and to the T hanger, and they're going to be setting a new transformer. And they're, Park Hill's doing the easement for PSO. Once it was marked out, Park Hill's doing the easement for that. PSO requires an easement be done for where their line's at.
In order for PSO to come on the property to maintain that line underground and deal with the transformer, they're going to require an easement to be able to do that. And so Park Hill is helping us draft that.
So what I'm hearing from the city is we don't expect any poles.
No.
There'll be some above-ground matters, but most of the line will be underground until it reaches its destination?
It'll all be underground. The only thing that's going to be setting above ground is the transformers.
Okay. Thank you.
The FAA pretty much restricts any
I would think so.
above-ground utilities.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Let that hit the one pole that's out there. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Ginn?
Yes.
Evelyn?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Yes.
Gertis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. 4B, discussion, consideration, of possible action to authorize the mayor to execute task order number 8 with Park Hill Professional Services, Chickasha Municipal Airport, update property map.
I move we authorize the mayor to execute task order number 8 with Park Hill and Professional Services, Chickasha Municipal Airport, update property map.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion.
I was curious, why did we need the map?
To stay in compliance with FAA regulations.
Oh, they required a new map, but because of the additional buildings, maybe, or?
I'm not sure exactly what's
Buildings and property
required.
lines, the maps we have are quite old.
As if our property lines might have changed?
No, not changed, but just,
But you have to address easements and all that stuff in the new map. It has
Thank
to
you.
be platted out.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Evelyn?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Burris?
Abstain.
Gertis?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Ginn?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes. Item 4C, discussion, consideration, of possible action to authorize the installation of electric poles at Chickasha Municipal Airport for an amount not to exceed $10,271.17 and authorize the chairman to execute the agreement.
Move to authorize the installation of electric poles at the Chickasha Municipal Airport for an amount not to exceed $10,271.17 and authorize the chairman to execute the agreement.
Second.
Discussion.
Are we seeing from city staff some assurances that's not poles?
That's not poles.
All right.
That is for PSO to put in their transformer and their underground service to those buildings.
Thank you.
Is that just
They're
their,
charging us to put those in.
is that their
There's no
terminology?
poles involved.
Is that it's their terminology, the poles?
I guess it is, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's all underground. There are no poles.
Aren't the transformers normally on poles?
You do have transformers on poles, but these are transformers that are ground mounted.
Okay.
Those green box deals.
Yeah, they went boom out at my work not too long ago.
Sitting on a concrete pad, honestly.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Yes.
Gertis,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Wynn,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 5, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
We're adjourned.